And I'm going to let him go wild on health. I'm going to let him go wild on the food. I'm going to let him go wild on medicines. The only thing I don't think I'm going to let him even get near is the liquid gold that we have under our feet.
Go wild on medicine. And that is what Donald Trump is saying Robert F. Kennedy Jr. would do in a potential Trump administration if he wins next week. And we're learning more about what that role would be. According to a Monday report from Politico, Kennedy told attendees at a virtual event that the key to his plans is that President Trump has promised me is control of the public health agencies, which are HHS and its sub-agencies, CDC, FDA, NIH, and a few others, and then also the USDA. While that seems unlikely, given the scope of the potential role, it wouldn't be out of character for Trump. You might remember that Mick Mulvaney was tapped by Trump to serve as both the director of the Office of Management and Budget and also as the director of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau simultaneously. Nevertheless, it remains unclear what RFK's exact role might be. While the Trump campaign denied this, telling Politico that formal discussions of who will serve under Trump are premature, others on Trump's team seem thrilled to have Kennedy dictate national health policy. But as you've heard Trump indicate in that clip, the only thing that'll be off limits for famed environmentalist RFK Jr. would be environmental policy. Now, Cenk, I know you've been sympathetic to some aspects of RFK Jr.'s policies, stances, actions in the past. Do you think this is a good thing, or do you think that not even being able to help shape environmental policy is a big red flag?
No, of course, terrible thing. So, look, there's three things he's good at. I've said it 100 times. He's great on environmental policies, and Trump just said, "It's the one thing I'm not going to let him touch." Okay, great, and that's what he's built his career on, his actual professional career. And he's good on anti-corruption. He won't be able to touch that. He's good on housing. He won't be able to touch that. So instead, he's going to give him all the things he's terrible on. And Bobby Kennedy Jr. has a reputation for being wild. Even if you like him and you think it's unfair, dropping off dead bears in the Central Park, the whales and the this and the that and the sexting and the a billion other things that have gone on. And you're going to say in your speech, "I'm going to let him go wild." Okay, all right. So that's rhetorically a terrible take, I think. But I know he's trying to get the Kennedy voters, but I think he might cost himself a lot of voters by saying, "Hey, don't worry, I'm going to let RFK Jr. go wild in my campaign. I'm just going to give him this random gigantic role that doesn't even exist, where he's in charge of health and human services plus agriculture and the food supply." Okay, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. And I bet that doesn't sound troubling at all. I bet that everybody thinks you're super sane and we're really looking forward to it. Look, guys, when I say let's go populist and anti-establishment, I'm talking about corruption. I'm talking about getting money out of politics. I'm talking about serving the average man. I'm not talking about saying that 99% of the doctors in the world are wrong, 99% of the scientists in the world are wrong. So I don't know what he's going to do, but if they start, limiting vaccines, it could end in absolute disaster. So, okay, great. We have that to look forward to. They're all going to go wild in the Trump campaign. It's going to be 4 years of utter chaos if he wins.
Well, on that front, Cenk, Caitlin Collins did ask Trump's transition chair, Howard Lutnick, about RFK Jr. potentially having a role in shaping some of this medicine and health policy. And this is what he had to say.
Is that true? Has Trump promised him basically the HHS job?
So I spent 2.5 hours this week with Bobby Kennedy Jr. And it was the most extraordinary thing because let's face it, we've all heard on the news all sorts of sort of snarky comments about him. And I said, "So tell me, how's it going to go?" And he said, "Why don't you just listen to me explain things?" And what he explained was when he was born, we had 3 vaccines and autism was 1 in 10,000. Now a baby's born with 76 vaccines because in 1986, they waived product liability for vaccines. And here's the best one. They started paying the people at the NIH, right? They pay them a piece of the money for the vaccine companies. Wait a minute, let me finish. And so all of these vaccines came out without product liability. So what happened now? Autism is 1 in 34.
Okay,
amazing.
Neither of us are doctors.
We
Vaccines
are not.
are safe. RFK, I mean,
Why do you think vaccines are safe? There's no product liability anymore. Here's what he
Vaccines
said.
don't cause autism, which is what RFK pushes, which is why people are concerned that he could get a job like HHS. And I don't even think
he's not getting a job for HHS.
Now, of course, vaccines do not cause autism, and the studies have suggested that they did have been shown to be fraudulent. But for why autism rates have increased, advances in diagnostic capabilities and greater understanding and awareness of autism spectrum disorder seem to be largely driving the increase, Rutgers researchers said. But there's probably more to the story. Genetic factors and perhaps some environmental ones too might also be contributing to the trend. What environmental factors could be contributing isn't totally clear, but what is clear is that vaccines are not one of them. Plus, much of the risk of developing autism, around 83% according to one analysis, comes from inherited genetic factors. But getting back to RFK Jr. and Lutnick, he said pretty firmly that he won't have a job at HHS. Trump was asked the very same question during his garbage truck photo op, can't believe I'm saying that, and had a very different response. Take a look.
RFK Jr. said that he promised to control the public health agencies if you were to win. Is that accurate?
Well, we'll work with him, and he's a very talented guy. He wants women's health. He wants health for people, and we're going to work with him. He's a very, very talented guy. He's a friend of mine.
Cenk, all of this. What do you make of this? Even the dump truck.
Yeah. So, look, depending on whether you think this is good news or bad news, he might screw over him at once he wins, and I'm going to explain why in a second and how. But first, come on, guys. Like, when RFK Jr. makes a point that they have a product liability shield, and that protects those drug companies from being more tested in court. Okay, I hear that point, and that's an interesting point. But there's also a reason for that, and that should be worthy of a debate between intelligent people who understand the issues. But then he makes it seem like because they have that shield, that no one's ever done a test on a link between autism and vaccines. But that's not true. A lot of people have done those tests, and all of them say there is no link. And they say, wait a minute. When Bobby was born, he's in his 70s. When he was born, autism was barely diagnosed. I mean, come on, that's sophistry. You don't know that? You're gonna make that point to try to mislead people? Oh, it's more diagnosed now, so you see how it increased because of what? And by the way, a lot of things have happened in that 70 plus years. Oh, it must be the vaccines. And that, no, you're just, he's never convinced me that he knows better than 99% of the scientists in the world. Sorry, if that hurts your feelings, that's a sad day, okay? But no, I believe the doctors and the scientists. So look, here's how he can get screwed though. Cabinet positions like the head of HHS require Senate confirmation. So he could just have him try to get confirmed by the Senate. The Senate says no, and then he goes, "Oh well, Bobby, I tried. You're such a good pal. You know, let's go hang out together." But no, you get nothing. I already got your votes. That would be a very Trump move, right? So that's not impossible. On the other hand, Trump, when people don't get confirmed, does something that, like, I get it, man. Honestly, I might do it too, and if that upsets you, that's fine. But he just goes, okay, he's acting secretary, and he'll be acting secretary for 4 years. What are you going to do now? And the answer is, we scouted in his first term. The Democrats aren't going to do anything, and there isn't anything they can do. So he could make him chief doctor of the planet, and there's nothing Democrats can do about it. So buckle up, brace for impact. If you enjoyed this video, that's because of our members. They make us independent, they make us strong, and they make us honest. Become a member today by hitting the join button below.